sorry, before I didn't take the vote yet, so
Oh,
I did really. Just so, the balance as of today in the transfer station account is $103,783.14.
cool.
So some of
Nice
those
to-
projects up there we get.
Yeah, I know,
They
that's
needed it,
nice to
sounds like.
have.
Okay,
Enough for you to
now we
get.
can adjourn.
All right, and then I will call to order the quarterly meeting. Sorry, I had to say. Thank you guys for being here, appreciate it. So, thank you for bringing this detail and for providing the budget information too. How are things going?
I'm sorry,
How are things going?
busy.
Yeah, I can
I'll
imagine.
give you a quick overview of the last month.
Okay.
I'll be careful with it being recorded, but we've had an elderly gentleman in cardiac arrest, died at home. We've had a 74-year-old male at Seasons, several calls, dementia, a few other things. Very complicated because there's two people with dementia in the same house. It involves us and the police and everything else, and we usually end up taking them both to the hospital. We've done that multiple times. We've had a 47-year-old critical transfer with DKA and esophageal airways. We took him to Keene.
Now, what did you say?
An advanced life support transport.
Diabetic.
Diabetic ketoacidosis. The guy trying to die. We had 3 IV pumps on it from here to Cheshire Medical Center. We've had a 3-year-old with a seizure, a 1-year-old in respiratory arrest, which we saved. The incident at Dana Place that we dealt with. We backed up Life Flight because the skiing has been called the ribbon of death. And the skiing has been rough, and when people get hurt, they get really hurt. But we backed up Memorial Zoar with a truck and a helicopter to help them out. We had a motor vehicle accident that died because it was in his 20s. We've had a lot of 20-year-olds. We had a 78-year-old stroke that died after being hospitalized for a little bit. A respiratory arrest from an opiate overdose, and a 30-year-old with self-inflicted lacerations. That's just in the last month. We have reached out to the state for a little bit of mental health help because they're supporting people with that, veterans and first responders and stuff, and we're testing the waters. And I've been invited to the fire academy on the 9th of June, I'm sorry, January, for a program to meet with 18 different disciplines of different types of counseling, because I think we're ready for it.
I was going to
Or
ask
some
you
of us.
if any of the first responders, I'm gonna look into it with Julie, and I'm just bringing it up right now, but I was thinking about that. The company that my husband David works for deals with critical incident counseling, and I'm wondering if this might not be a more perfect time to see if any of the first responders.
Well, that's nice, but the
employees-
state's already got that in place, and I'm in their system now.
Okay, but just
There are
let
a
me know
whole
how that
bunch of them
goes,
that you
but.
can pay for it, I don't want to pay for it.
But taking it beyond the
Yeah.
first responders,
Mhm.
the employees of the town,
Mhm.
all of that, I think we need to just kind of consider that as well.
I think it's worth looking at this
It's hard
point,
to
because I think that
swallow.
even though you guys are on the perimeter of that, we're kind of representatives of all of us, and when we're dealing with catastrophic things like that, especially with people you know,
Yeah,
it does take its toll on us in the community as a whole. I mean, the hospital takes pretty good care of us, and we did have a debriefing there, or debriefing, whatever you want to call it, and that worked well. But I only send people that are actively involved with these things. So if you didn't actually deal with the patient, I don't usually let you go.
right.
So we're
But
working
sadly,
on
it's an ongoing thing, I mean, it's a compounding thing. I mean, you deal with it today, and then the friends help out, you love your friends out, but then there's another event, and it's a compounding thing. And I think what he's trying to explain to you, which you probably doesn't need explanation, that in the last month, it's been horrific.
Right,
And it isn't just last month,
yeah,
it's every
it's
month.
getting worse.
There's something every month.
You know, we're at a record number of runs. We're at 617, I believe it was today. So we're pushing big numbers this year.
And how's the staffing?
Well,
Thin.
calls without Rick and Rob there, we're 22% this year. Robbie Reiners has stepped up and has done great. So we made most of, we're in the high 400s of the 600 calls that we've been on. The staffing has been good. We haven't missed any calls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, would I like more people that can come out more frequently? Yeah, but I've been able to have 2 trucks on the road multiple times now.
Mm-hmm.
we've done it, we've had the same crew deal with another truck, depending on what we're doing, but we've been able to pull it off, we've been better to be lucky than good, we've been
Yeah.
lucky to a certain degree, but we're also pretty damn good.
So on the last time we met, I think it was, Joe was gonna change the staffing, because he
Joe-
wanted people to sign up for
That didn't
shifts versus 3
That's
hours
nice
in
idea.
there. How did that go?
Didn't work.
Nobody signed up, but why did
He's been in absentia most of the time, he had a baby, he's been in the woods, he couldn't make it plan, you gotta send him an email, right? And I called him and not coming, so.
Okay, but aside from Joe not being here, it didn't work because,
It doesn't work because it breaks up everybody's either evening or day, and then they decide they wanna call out, so they call Rick or someone else to replace it, so it's like, it looks good on paper, but it really doesn't work.
okay, so
I mean, the
we're-
commitment needs to be there, and if you commit to a shift, you need to say, I'm gonna do that, oh no, I want a glass of wine tonight, so I'm not gonna do it.
yeah,
That's one of the issues that we
Okay.
have, sadly, and I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and they're probably the people that are the smart ones, the rest of us are the ones who did it, and everything else got put aside.
so on staffing, again, you said you're thin, have you gotten new people and lost people,
We
or what
haven't-
is it?
We're thin, we're always gonna, the fire department's gonna be thin, all of them, the ambulance is always gonna be thin, we're making every call, we haven't missed a call.
I understand
So
that, but
it's working well.
but I'm just curious, have you gotten new people at all?
Yes.
I know you had a lot of new
Yes, we've got
recruits
some
last year.
spectacularly educated new people. We got a new guy that came out for a second call today, he's a retired pharmaceutical guy. He's pretty bright and gets it, and it's fun working with people that can figure out their own paperwork by themselves right away. I've got a half a dozen that are ski patrollers that are still eating a crayon. So we're working on getting better with that. We've got 3, I think, in the queue to get licensed at this point.
And that's an issue too, we send the information in with their fingerprints, and it can be a month and a half, sometimes 2 months,
6
and
weeks or more.
yeah, they're called NILFs, the heck is it?
No, that's not good.
Anyway, they have their license per se,
Yeah.
but they can't respond, because that paper works in the tunnel somewhere. And that's very annoying. I mean, the fact that you put this in, you send your money in, you send the fingerprints in, and then you wait. And then you keep checking, and then you wait, and then you call, and then, well, no, there's still no. I don't know what,
I don't know what the answer,
I don't know what the
the
answer
state
is.
trooper that's retired does the fingerprints and stuff for criminal background checks. We never get the results of those. Do you
Just
get the results
pass
of the
your
fire
mail?
department, criminal result, background checks?
Yeah, the
Because
fire
we're not
department,
allowed to get them. All of a sudden they'll approve it and the state, the Department of EMS says, yep, this one's okay. And I've got a couple that were felons, and I said, maybe it's okay to you, but it's not to me. So we pulled a couple over the years that we didn't like. But it takes 6 weeks or more. But the new kid got it in 2 days because he had everything, and
Yes.
because he was a pharmaceutical salesman internationally, he had a lot of background checks, not so he's probably pretty well vetted. But I had a Marine that I think probably lost interest. It took so long. It
yeah,
took
he's
more
been,
than 2
he's
months.
been going on 2 months.
And he had an honorable discharge and the whole deal. I don't get it, but, you know, their guy fully certified as an EMT and the whole deal, it just takes forever, so. From a state point of view, we're working on it. They told me yesterday they only have 1 opening in the state for workers. So I think maybe we're getting better. We'll see where it goes this next year.
So about the budget then,
Mhm.
does anybody have anything else before we head into the budget? Obviously, I'm asking why such a large increase in the ask.
Well,
Most of it is around salaries.
Most of us is an ambulance.
most of it's an ambulance, it's $270,000 right there. And 400 beyond that.
No, it's not, that's not the first one.
No, the
Oh,
first
okay.
part
It's in the
is
second
the
part.
ask from the town of Jackson and town of Bartlett, compared to 18,000 and 27,000, it's up to, from 34 and 51. And then the salaries are up 30,000, so that makes up part of it, and then the supplies are up a little bit from last year's budget, but 9,000 from
And
last
also,
year's spend, so.
yeah.
So, talk to me about
The
those.
reason for the big jump between the 2 towns is that we've been cut for the last 3 years for the amount that we've asked for. So we've always been a few, several bucks behind.
Mhm.
So we just decided that we put in what we really think we need. We really leaning strongly towards paying people more. I mean, this, I realize they're volunteers, but what they're getting paid is really pretty much piddly for the amount of time that they put in and for the, going out in the middle of the night to go out on SWAT. And that's part of the increase for the salary. Plus, we've had a lot more runs. We don't know,
Right.
we have no idea how many we'll have this year coming up. We have a lot of standbys for police, fire, which we still have to pay people for. You can't expect them to, go and spend $5 for nothing.
And that actually may increase because we've talked to both Chief Currier and Chief Henry about the fire standbys. And I personally believe if you're going to evacuate an inn any time of year, but especially this time of year, we should be there because we can be a medium to move somebody to a safe place into a warmer environment, or at least we can put 6 or 7 in a big truck easily and move them somewhere. Like if you evacuate, for example, Attitash at the Grand Summit, we can shuttle people down to the main base lodge at Bear Peak, put them inside there, keep them warm, and run people back and forth, that kind of stuff. And we usually don't get called out to carbon monoxide until somebody gets sick on scene. And I think we're gonna change that a little bit. I've talked to Jeff about it, about just being, not necessarily responding, but just being around the station so that if somebody does get sick, we can be quicker in the response. And often we have somebody in the station in the evening anyway, studying or doing something else, so that works pretty well.
What do our people make?
They make $35
For a
for
12-hour
a
shift.
12-hour shift to be on call. If they go out on a call, it is $50 for the call. So you potentially could make $85
Well, plus
for
equipment, so-
4 or 5 hours worth of volunteer work. They
But being
get,
available for 12 hours, I misunderstand?
Yes, if
Yeah,
they
we
sign
do,
up for a
but-
shift to be on call, it's $35.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
They go on
we split it
call
up,
for each
we
call.
split it up because somebody thought it was good to have quarterly shifts,
Mm.
so it's actually $17.50 for a 6-hour shift.
that's the same thing, it's $35 for 12
That may have been
hours.
good for everybody but me,
Well,
because there's always one of those at midnight to 6 in the morning, if somebody won't do it, I get,
Right.
Oh, sure.
I take everything by default.
So the increase in salaries, would that be
Where is it?
increasing each person or more staff? You want to pay people more for what they're
Doesn't
doing.
matter how long you
It's
got, you're paid the same, whether you're a paramedic or an
correct,
advanced,
whether
you get paid the same.
it all washes, whether you have 10 people that get, $200 more, if you get one person that gets $400 more, because, it's all the same rate regardless.
Okay, so right now it's $35 a shift. What would
Right.
you increase it to?
Right.
What are you thinking of increasing it to?
And if they have.
No, she's asking what amount
I
would you
know.
I'm
increase?
sorry,
What
I
amount
have
would you
the math
increase
one.
it to?
What would you like to increase it to? From
I'd
30?
like to increase it to 50.
Is that what you put
I
in
think
for
for
your
12-hour
budget?
shift, $50 is not
Right.
unreasonable.
And then what per call?
I don't know, I didn't really, maybe, actually, right now, we're paying $50 for a call,
Right.
plus $20 for the
COVID stipend.
COVID stipend. Because, and you probably remember, 2 years ago, that the state gave us money if people would sign a sheet saying they'd go on a COVID call.
Right.
And then they allowed us money for that. We continued that on at an extra $20, just for the we call it hazard pay.
Right.
So right now, that probably would stay the same, it just wouldn't, we won't categorize it. I kept it that way, thinking it would be possible that the state would come back with something else and say, oh, well, if you've got people that would respond to COVID calls, then, we'll pay you back. So I kept it separate, because I guess
It
want that right
doesn't seem
now.
like, yeah.
So basically, it's $70.
So you're planning on continuing that even though we're not getting money for it?
Yes.
Yeah, because we're still got COVID, we're still getting.
Yeah, we still have the same, still got the same rates.
Do you have anyone who says, no, I won't go on
Yes, we
COVID?
do.
Yes.
So they don't get that extra
They're
time?
not working with us anymore mostly.
No, they don't really work with us, they can't, because you can't pick and choose,
Right.
it's
And
You don't know.
we do supply
Yeah.
the
No, I mean, it could be-
gear and stuff.
simple as a stub toe and find out that when they get they've got COVID, so.
So then, I'm just gonna skip down real quickly so we can hit this too, on the capital expenses. Do you have any funds for capital expenses other than what's in your donation account and your regular bank account?
We have
No capital reserve fund or anything?
no,
like
the
that?
only thing we have is a donation account.
Okay.
I think Jackson has a capital reserve. I
Yeah,
know Bartlett does not.
right, and I don't know what the balance is on that or anything, but, so new truck,
Yeah, I'm not really enthused about it, to be honest about it, because, a lot of the new trucks that are brand new on the road right now are off the road because they had brake problems.
But we gotta be realistic, I mean, this truck is 10
It's
years old.
actually 12 years old now. And we put a bunch of money into it this summer. I think it's a good truck. I think it's better than what we could actually even buy today, possibly. And if we get to that point, we can order it and then not take it and keep what we got. But the new stuff's getting more and more expensive every year. If we ordered it today, we wouldn't see it till 2025.
We put in
That's a
close to
problem.
$10,000 for repairs on
Between, yeah.
the big truck with,
But do we
just
pay for it when we get it?
pay for it when you get it.
Yeah, okay.
But, and like he said, you can order it now, we'd have to have the authority to order it, but then you don't have to take it. It's just, and it's like 2 to 3 years out, the same with the fire trucks.
But they're having trouble with brakes on some of the new trucks. They forgot to drill a hole in the brake calipers for the ABS sensors. So the trucks that are off the road because they don't work, and all the stock that's on the shelves has gotten recalled as well because somebody didn't drill a little tiny hole to run the wire through. I mean, it's welcome to American manufacturing.
Now, part of the reason we bought the second truck was to prolong the life of the first one, but
And we did it,
how long, when did we get the second truck?
2018.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's been 4 years.
Mhm.
Right. I
And
mean,
it's also allowed us to do multiple calls at the same time without calling in action or anything else to help us. And we've been able to do that.
Maybe somebody.
and we were supposed to be on a 5-year plan for,
with
you
the
know,
truck.
because even though you don't have a lot of miles on it, you have a lot of hours on it.
I don't know.
Yes.
I just have a question, and I'll go over this later and find out more questions probably. Can you show me or tell me, do we get any extra income because we have the second truck? I
We
don't see
did,
that
actually,
showing up in
Yes.
we would have had to ask for more money last month, but we got a $9,000, let's call it a settlement from Memorial, because we helped them quite a bit. And they gave us in $9,200, I believe it was, or something like that.
Right.
And we did a $14,000, we had a private pay thing that we had because nobody else had touched it. It was a woman that had an infection that needed a plate put in her head in Boston. We went to Hampton Beach to bring her to Boston a bunch of times,
multiple
and
times.
we got 14,000 out of that, which is a private pay. It was, you know, if we did it with Medicare, we would have gotten not
Zero.
much, maybe
Yeah.
$200. But it was private pay, we made that arrangement, and that saved us from having to come back to the trough and ask for more money.
And right now, we have, well, we haven't got a signed agreement, but we have a tentative agreement with Memorial. If they ask us to transfer someone to, say, Maine Med, or one of the site units, and they have no insurance, Memorial will pay us what Medicare would pay. So it's not like we're gonna get stuck. I mean, we're not getting,
Don't get very much. but
we're not getting a
get
whole lot
some.
of money, but we're getting enough to pay the crew, pay the, you know, for the ambulance, for the expenses of the fuel.
One of the numbers that I do know on that is we have what they call a stay and wait. It was a stay and wait today, but because of this meeting, we didn't know how long it was gonna last. They would pay, I think it was $1,800 for stay and wait.
What are you looking for, Gene?
Gene,
Apple?
there.
Want to go through that
Oh,
door?
I know, that's
Take a-
closet.
Yeah, take a
Yeah,
right.
no, that's not
We
bad.
were-
And then take a left.
50 years ago, it was in the closet. But the stay and wait stuff, they'll give us up to $1,800, so we may go over for a transesophageal echocardiogram or something, so they're looking at your heart valves
Yeah,
without looking through your ribs and that kind of stuff. And we've done a bunch of those, and if they have decent insurance, we get more money, but $1,800 usually pays for it unless you get into a system where it gets complicated and they go right into cardiac surgery, and that's happened after a 5-hour wait at one point. We have a different rate than we charge them per hour for that. But,
and these are all contractual, so you have it.
well, it's
Done, or is
it's
it a
kind of a
handshake
verbal
deal?
contraction. It's more or less of a handshake deal because I don't really want to get into transfers every day, although I get called 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
Can you go to Maine, can you do this? And in the middle of the night, it's kind of hard to start calling people at 2 in the morning, but I do it.
But we also have told them that we'll take care of the Jackson and Barton people.
You know, today we
We
had,
want to do the transfers, and we
Right.
want to, if someone calls, if it gets transported by us from Bartlett or from Jackson, and then they have to turn around and go to Maine Med, we want the opportunity
First,
to get that first, to serve our people for the
Because you
continuity
know
of
them
care.
already, and they're
So-
gonna feel more comfortable with you.
Yes, correct.
It's better care.
Correct.
we had a Jackson resident today, we really wanted to do was stay awake, but they increased it at 9:30 last night. They said, okay, we're gonna do this procedure, and then we wanna do a cardiac stress test. I didn't dare take it because I thought we'd be late, and I didn't have enough people out today. I will never take a transfer unless I get a backup crew.
So on Hart's location, they pay 500, how many,
12,000 is
It went up to
Yeah.
1,000, actually, I just got the,
how many calls are you doing for them?
Well, for them personally, probably none, but
Okay.
for Hart's location, this year we actually got lucky, we didn't do a lot of carryouts there this
Yeah.
year. We did the forest fire.
Right,
I know everybody got really excited about billing the Forest Service for that. We had solar students, it really didn't cost us anything, plus we got one good run out of it because they got zapped by power. So we billed the run and called it good.
okay, so that 1,000 is,
and I just got the check from them. The $500 that we received was for last year.
I think we sent them a bill for 2,500 last year, you guys did, and I got a phone call real quick after that, what the hell? And we said, look, you know, it's just a kind of a mutual agreement, if you wanna make it $1,000, we'll be
Yeah.
okay with that, as long as Nancy keeps making cookies when we go and carry out.
But some years we may go there 10 times, other years we
Well,
may.
we've probably been there that many times.
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
been
you know, I
accidents
mean,
and
with
stuff.
motor vehicle
but I remember,
accidents
yeah, I remember we
And
did
we've
a
had
bit last year, we asked,
and
and
rubber
then
issues.
And you're
it's
never
worth
gonna-
revisiting, and we did.
How are the,
Go ahead, yeah.
it seems like collections aren't going up. We're doing more calls and taking in more money, or giving us supposedly, but we're not collecting anymore. We're collecting less, actually.
This is, as you can see, that's the end of November. I don't have everything in for my books. I have money still that will come in, I don't know how much, but one of
Probably
the,
significant, we have
one of the issues we've had is that Memorial used to give us what they call the demographics of a patient. When we brought them in, they would give us a sheet that had their insurance information on it, because they don't want us asking them for the insurance or a copy of the card. So what we had to do is they would give us a sticker. We would send fax the sticker over to wherever. Now I guess it's going to Scarborough, but for over a month and a half, they have not sent the information back. So I have a lot of calls. I've got at least a month and a half's worth of calls that I have not been able to bill. And I've contacted them repeatedly. So I guess so we will have more income. But I can't tell you how much. And that's one of those things that's nebulous. It could be $10,000 less this year, it could be $20,000 more. Not really.
Yeah.
And as you all know, insurance companies are just, they find any little tiny thing. I mean, we had a kid that rolled a cement truck, and they said it wasn't workers' comp. Not quite sure how
I
you.
wanna know how you roll a cement.
Was it worth what? It wasn't worth what?
Was it
It wasn't
It wasn't a
worth
workers' comp
Wouldn't
place.
be covered by workers'
Try
comp.
to
They said
improve
they didn't
coverage.
feel it, he didn't go by
I'm
ambulance.
going to Concord on that one, I got pictures of the truck.
Who, the driver?
Fully loaded.
Yeah, the
cement.
driver.
But why did you care about the driver being working?
Because we took them to the
Because we took
hospital,
them to the
workers' comp,
hospital.
workers' comp pays 100%.
Oh, I see. Oh, I got you.
We gave him a bill,
I
the
see.
workers' comp company, for the commercial outfit they work for, said it's not us. And,
They said they didn't feel it. It was,
he didn't.
Well, we
even
had
know
an
about it.
issue with Coleman's on that.
That's
We
right.
sent them a bill and they sent it to the insurance company. The insurance company sent us a letter and said, we don't feel we're responsible for this.
it's probably the same cause.
So we sent,
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
It is.
so we sent a letter to Coleman's, we don't care who pays for this.
Right.
If it's comes to the insurance company, it's gonna be you. I mean, don't.
Right, well, unfortunately, we have to have a labor
We
board
gotta
out of
appeal
the
it.
the workers' comp.
Right.
I like Concord, I got it.
Huh.
If you ever
Unless we
looked
can
at it,
combine it with
you
your,
know,
with your,
Well, ours has already gone in, but we don't check it. So I think we're probably gonna go.
Anything else?
Oh, okay. Okay,
When
thank you.
insurance companies take your money, they build nice buildings, and occasionally they pay claims.
All right.
All right, any other questions or thoughts?
I mean, unfortunately, I hate to say it, the new stuff's just got awfully expensive.
Mm,
I'm not really sure how an outfit like Action survives when they have to buy new gear and you gotta stay. You know, we got better equipment than most everybody in town.
mm,
We take better care
We
of it
take
than
care.
most everybody in town. Trucks get cleaned all the time and, you know, in decent shape, and things break, we fix them, and, that's what keeps them going for as long as we do.
How are things in the dormitory?
Well, it's,
How are things at the fire station?
okay.
Good.
Well, I can say I was a little annoyed. The other day, we had a call, and not to name names, but there was somebody in the station, and it was called in that the woman had fallen down the stairs, and they thought she was dead. And if she wasn't dead, she was
Dying.
dying. And he sat right there and wouldn't respond. It was 3 miles up the road. I was not happy.
And we were at the hospital on a stay and wait for a procedure.
Right.
Left the stretcher with our patient on it, took the big truck, went and got the little truck, went to the other call, and she made out okay. Great lady, and she made a donation this morning, 92 years old, came in and said,
Oh. I have
well, she
a,
gave the money to Jeff, but she gave it to us.
good. I have a question on procedure with a new ambulance. If it doesn't arrive for 2 to 3 years and it's not paid till then, does it still have to go on, does it, the ordering it needs to be approved by both towns
Yeah.
via
Yes.
warrant article?
Yes, that's
So-
fine.
And so you couldn't order it until
Right.
that.
So that's approved.
Right.
So what I'd like to do then is not go 6 months before our next meeting, but we should look at the budget, and then, since we have our budget meeting starting in late January, early February, we can
Yeah.
schedule another meeting for the two boards to get together with you guys and go over the budget.
Yes, and by then,
And then
by
you
the
have
end
your
of
December
December, I'll
numbers.
have the final payroll in, and I'll have all my bills in.
And in the
I-
meantime, can you get a quote for an
We
ambulance
got it.
with
Just
terms?
put that in.
And I know the number is here, do you have an actual quote and everything
I
that
do.
worked up, and then that's something that says, if it, you know, something that has the out, I guess, that says if you don't.
Well, you know what? There's only 700 ambulances a year sold in the United
Mhm.
States. That's why they can charge what they want.
Right,
They're having trouble getting parts. If they had a brand new ambulance, they could sell it tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So that's not a good factor.
I'm
So
sorry.
what you're asking for is a formal.
Yeah,
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 roll out, yeah.
because if we're gonna vote on something, I would like something
Yeah,
more
that's
than on this,
Sure,
obviously.
that's great.
And then, what is a Lucas, $23,000?
The Lucas, I tell you, absolute God's honest truth, it's a CPR machine. It does compressions for you. They do good compressions. It frees up somebody to push drums or do whatever else you can do.
Do we have one now?
We do not have one now.
Gotcha.
If I'm still breathing, I'd rather not have one, and I'll be honest about that, that's just wiggle room. We have actually a deal that works with us. That moonlights as a paramedic, but he's actually a doc.
Mhm,
And he's worked in services, and he works at Memorial now too.
mhm.
He thought we should have one. We're entertaining that.
Gotcha. It's not a high priority on your, it's a,
It's just one more thing that people have to learn how to use, and I'm not 100% convinced that, the handful of us that do it every day could probably use it okay,
yeah,
but the ones that take, oh, well, I love Saturday night shifts or something,
yeah,
aren't even gonna know how to open a
Okay.
box.
all right.
And
Anything else?
they don't do CPR any better, it just makes it easier.
Frees
It just
somebody
frees
up.
If it was
It's
10,000 or
nice.
14,000, they might be a lot more interested. in it.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else then?
No, I just do have election for officers, so I'll nominate Barbara for chairman.
I'll second that.
You don't waste your time,
Okay.
Vicky will be
Does
vice-
a great job.
Nominate Vicky for vice chairman, unless someone
Yeah.
anyone want to do that.
And
think
yours,
we were-
it's on my barge, yeah.
And then the secretary treasurer, who's not here?
Gus.
Gus.
You're not running it.
I'm not running it either, so I'm done after this year.
You need a secretary.
Frank?
Me, secretary.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll
thank you for
nominate all those
volunteering.
people.
Yeah.
He
Reminds
said,
me.
he said me
You know
secretary, he
what this
volunteered.
was?
I'm not gonna second my own
I
nomination.
had this, did I second that?
Okay,
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
all in favor of all those?
Aye.
We can have a vote.
Thank you.
So one thing I'd like to do really, and it can be very informal, maybe all get together, or maybe not even as a total group, but pieces of a group, and do have a chat maybe quarterly. When we first talked about
We
the
tried
quarterly thing,
and
I
started,
closed.
we need to get back to it.
Well, we never did it, and, you know, here we are at the first meeting, and it's,
Yeah.
I know.
and it's a
When we-
budget meeting, but
when
I
I
would
said
like
this
you
one-
guys to know exactly what we're up to, what we're doing, and what our challenges are.
I would love that, and let's set that, when we get the budget and we have that meeting, we'll set the
Mhm.
next 4 meetings like we tried to last time.
And as I said, our door is always open.
Well,
Agenda,
and
email,
so is
places,
part.
make sure you can update us sometimes if you feel like we're falling behind and not understanding what's happening.
Right,
Just get to us.
well,
Can't
I mean, I'm
maybe-
not even really sure what you wanna know about, to tell you the truth,
Well,
but I
I
mean,
think
when,
that, you know, knowing that
people
you
go
had those
through-
calls in the last month, like all of our communities have seen a lot more
Sure.
action in the past is just a good
I mean,
thing to
it's
know.
not just here, it's
No.
Freiburg,
Right.
it's everywhere, and everybody's having a tough time with it, and
Mhm.
it's time
Would
to,
you keep me posted though on the mental health side of things if you do?
Oh,
get the-
absolutely,
and
sure.
Get the help from the state.
yeah, so. But you know, some of it, and I'll be really honest with it, I know one guy that's in the Air Force that, worked for us, he worked for another company in New Hampshire as well, worked around, Warner, Wentworth, that area. Ended up becoming a paramedic, works with our pediatric things, worked well with, Anastasia over in Dartmouth. Ended up going to Worcester, Mass, UMass Med Center, big med center. In 1 week, he had 6 kids under the age of 12 that died
Mm-mm.
from accidents and stuff. That puts a lot of stress on you.
No.
Then his partner killed himself,
No.
and he had 2 little kids and a wife. And they were pleading, hey, listen, we need help, and the response was, you gotta get thicker skin. That's not the right
No,
response.
it's not the right.
And he has since, when he got to the point to go to the funeral
There's extra.
of his partner, they said, you can't go, you gotta work. So he said, I'm going to the funeral. I said, well, if you do, you're done, so I'll quit, so you know. So he did that, but he's in the Air Force, and he's got top security clearances. If he goes and tells him, because he's an obligate reporter, that he's getting mental health counseling,
Yeah,
he may lose his security clearance and lose his job.
yeah,
And he's not the only one, so there's a lot of them out there,
yeah,
you know. We're not doing us, the military guys, any favors, but
no.
But I think with our group, I think we do a good job. I mean, even though I'm
Sure
not
do.
actively in the field, I'm still actively involved with the, you know, with the aftermath of it.
Right.
Rick is, you know, a great sounding board. We've got some really strong people who help each other out.
Yeah.
You know, who,
Good.
Lorelei is a great, she's just a great inspiration, you know, she's a great kid, and she works really hard, and she keeps everything to perspective with some of the younger kids, things are tougher.
she's a young kid.
Yeah, she is, but she's in a different way.
Well, she's interesting because she's a Mennonite, so she wears,
Yeah.
you know, the dress and all, and
Yeah.
she sews her own dresses and stuff, and it's, at first we honestly said, you know, hopefully you get through this without getting picked on. But she's gone through paramedic school down in Concord, which is a tough act,
Yeah,
and is doing very well with it. And she studies, we've got Dale, who's a paramedic, who's here most weekends. And he'll study, he's trying to be, he's a PhD electrical engineer, and he's also in nursing school,
wow,
because he's an overachiever.
And he's a paramedic.
nice.
And,
And any little bits of money that he takes from us, he usually doesn't put in for any time, but any little bits that he makes, he gives to the Vaughn Food Service or something like that.
Nice,
So,
nice.
we got a good group of people we're very proud of.
yeah, and Brian Moffat's a great asset. You know, I mean,
Good, yeah, he is.
He's an awesome asset too.
Good. All right, well, thank you for your time tonight,
Okay.
everyone. I'll make a motion to adjourn at 5:51.
Second.
And we really
All in
gotta get
favor?
through this as a race.
Yeah.
Oh.